I am the Philosophical Bachelor, and today I want to talk to you about how to read philosophical texts. Do you struggle to read philosophical texts? You're definitely not alone. The primary texts, that is, books written by the philosophers widely studied, can be difficult to read for a variety of reasons. Some, like Hegel and Heidegger, are difficult per se, because they are indeed unclear and populated with words you have never encountered before. They may use words in odd ways that makes them seem as if it was a different language or poor translation. For example, das Man in Heidegger, absolute being in Hegel, ethical in Kierkegaard. The list really is rather endless. However, even the clearest of writing, such as Isiah Berlin, David Hume, John Stuart Mill, or Schopenhauer, can still be exhausting to read, once again for a variety of reasons. Some tackle a topic in such exhausting detail, defending their thesis from every angle, that it seems almost pedantic. For example, John Rawls's theory of justice. Other texts are painful because what they substantiate seems repulsive to our understanding, such as Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan and its support of authoritarianism. Let me cut to the chase. So how can we read these texts? There is a simple trick I was told on my first day at philosophy school, which was a game changer for me. Read the text twice, and that's all. I'm going to say it again in case you missed it. Read the text twice. I likewise struggled, and still struggle today, with reading philosophical texts, but I've come to realize that they contain a lot, and why should we expect them to be easy anyway? So firstly, make peace with the fact that they may be difficult. These are great thinkers, expounding on hard ideas that still trouble us today, on issues that are complex and hard to grasp. They're trying to think about things in fundamental ways to get right to the ground of the issue, and so can express views that seem to say in so many words what really can be said in just one sentence. But the reason they do this is so that they can defend their thesis thoroughly against possible attacks. Secondly, language itself might not be able to support what they want to say, which is why they have to invent new words. Once again, Heidegger does this a lot. For example, being towards death, all hyphenated together, or words simply such as Dasein. Be patient and try to understand what is meant by checking resources such as philosophy encyclopedias, for example, the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy, and my favorite, the Routledge Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Sometimes there are phrases which are untranslated, often in Latin or Greek, perhaps French or German. And if you're in the mood, then search on the web for a translation. However, I suggest you first try to just plow through the text without worrying too much about ideas or words you don't know. Perhaps, as you read, the text becomes clear from the context or from explanations later. Perhaps some words are just marginal or unimportant. But if you see the same word, coming up over and over again, you may wish to check it. Do not be afraid to use a dictionary to check words you do not know, not because they express philosophical concepts, but simply are words that you don't know. Once again, remember, these are great thinkers. They have studied a lot in their fields. Hence, their language ability is likely to exceed yours, so checking words in dictionary is not shameful. In summary, first, just try to make your way through the text. Perhaps not the entire book at once, but just one chapter. Then read it again. You would realize almost magically that what on first reading seems completely alien and impossible to grasp is now a bit clearer. Why? Now you understand how the writer writes, his style and the way he structures the sentence. Some expressions become more familiar. Perhaps you have also thought through what was said as you read, and so now you have developed some understanding. Maybe you found out the meaning of some words you didn't know, and that helps too. But you may still not understand many things. It is time now to approach secondary resources, perhaps listen to some videos, and on the webpage, The Philosophical recommends I have some suggestions of channels for you. Or go to the encyclopedias or read some secondary literature from your library. This brings me to another important point. Sometimes when approaching a difficult philosopher for the first time, perhaps doing so through introductory texts may be prudent. For instance, before attempting Hegel's phenomenology or Kant's critiques, you may wish to read an introduction to their thought or watch some videos on them so that you may get the big ideas. Someone has pre-digested the material for you, which can be good. However, you also want to read the text for yourself, as after all, surely you don't want always to eat premesticated food, in the words of the immortal Schopenhauer. Instead, let these aids be departure points to help you on your philosophical journey. Another point, you may also wish to pave your way by first reading simpler primary texts before tackling, for instance, the postmodernists like Deleuze or Derrida. And I have a list of suggestions on the webpage, The Philosophical Bachelor's Essential Reads. What do you think? Naturally, there will be some of you among my listeners who are more advanced in your philosophical journey. So perhaps you disagree or have other ideas to contribute. Please do so in the comment section or send me an email. As for the rookies, I wrote this for you. I hope it helps. My final word is, don't be disheartened. Realize they are trying to understand the thoughts of the great, so some humility is in order. My big suggestion is to read it twice, but sometimes 3 or more times is more appropriate, though I would suggest searching out some secondary literature by that point. Keep going, keep trying, keep thinking, and you'll get there. Thank you.